Foundation. Welcome to the LEF 14th Annual Honors Awards Breakfast. We are going to begin this morning with the national anthem sung by our Lansing High School Sound Spectrum. Will you please stand?
Here we are again. What a great crowd, all the bright smiling faces. It's fun to be here. And it's a great day to be part of the Lansing educational community. It's so exciting to have the students, the teachers, the donors, the parents, and community members all together so that we may celebrate you and your accomplishments. As president of the Lansing Educational Foundation, it's my honor to share with you the wonderful accomplishments that the foundation has completed this year. LEF has given over $30,000 in direct support to educate the Pride grants, Autism Fund grants made possible by the Leavenworth County Autism Connection, building grants, and other grants and programs that support educational excellence. We have continued to support Lansing Public Schools in many ways this year. Through the grant partnership with AT&T Aspire program, the annual Lansing District Art Show, and of course, the 2017-2018 Educate the Pride Grant for innovative projects in the classrooms. And I think I want to make a pitch for the concert that we're having June 16th. McKenna and Brock has offered to do a fundraising concert for us, and it's going to be in the high school football stadium, and I think it's going to be a really good event, so I hope you all will attend. I want to take a quick minute to welcome back our K-2 elementary principal, Tim Newton, who recently returned from the Arizona Infantry Division. Our K-2 students do not test at their grade level. So we're happy to have him back, and so that's why you won't be meeting him. We're happy to have him back and want to thank you for your service, Tim. So the Foundation Board of Directors would like to thank all of the donors in our community for your continued generosity and dedication in providing both dollars and time for Lansing students and teachers. In our 14 years, we have given over $500,000 charitable dollars to the Lansing School District to support excellence in education. But what is more astounding than the dollars is the goodwill and support the community has provided to Lansing students. The partnership we have formed with the Lansing Kiwanis Club for the pancake breakfast at the District Art Showcase has proven to be successful for our community. We have also developed a partnership with Charlie Hustle T-shirts for our first adventure into merchandising. And we have some of the T-shirts for sale over here. Just want to throw that in. It's a good buy for Charlie Hustle T-shirts too. These partnerships provide even more opportunities for our students and teachers to grow in learning together and provides and promotes school pride. I want to take a minute to thank Family Eye Care Center and the Hoagland family for sponsoring the teacher breakfast this morning. And please take a moment to look at our list of donors in the program, and again, we ask that you continue to support them so they will continue to support our schools. And right now, I would like to recognize the many current and previous board members on the Lansing Educational Foundation. Many are in attendance today, and I would like you to stand and remain standing until I finish reading all the names. I want everyone to be able to see who you are. Each of you has given so much of your time, energy, expertise, and knowledge to make the Foundation's mission a reality. Brian Brownwoods, Danielle Brandt, Sean Buttonby, Andrew Cameron, Dick Cameron, Steve Clay, Becky Courtney, Chris Cristiano, Bambi Darrow, Janice Flanagan, Janet Gould, Mike Greenemeyer, Joel Hatfield, Carol Hall, Scott Hecht, John Harris, Rich Hauber, Gail Hefko, Norma Hoagland, Christina Overson, Tina Hundley, Stacy Jenkins, Becky Jones, Kyle Kelly, Jack Kokenauer, Kathy Lameau, Priscilla LaPresti, Krista Martin, Christy McKnight, Janelle Mober, Mike Nielsen, Susan Olander, Larry O'Donnell, Harold Poe, Brad Patchen, Carol Page, Jane Fussell, Lisa Reese, Ryan Reese, Jennifer Richford, Rick Schneider, Brian Schwans, Mary Alice Schrager, Tom Smith, Jerry Trainum, Laura Teal, Maria Trainum, John Wendell, Ali Zeck, and Tom Young. And our newest members, Joy McKee and Mike Shear. And to the Lansing community. We now have a short video that captures some of the work that we've done this year.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea, but as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would away forever, exalted in the sea, as long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, keep us to the way, strolling so casually. We're different and the same, yeah, you another day, switch up the batteries. You gave me a chance, I couldn't take it. It's a shot in the dark, but I'll wait. Knowing that our heart can't shake me when I am with you. There's no place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. place I'd rather be.
So now I would like to introduce Dr. Darrell Stuffledine. We appreciate the leadership and dedication he's given to Lansing USD 469 this year. It is my honor to introduce Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Darrell Stuffledine.
Thank you and good morning. I have 5 minutes, and everybody has said I have 5 minutes, and so Board President Jeff Martin, throw something at me, please. Start the clock, because I will be in trouble. Here we go. First, I want to thank somebody who's really important to the district, who's leading us after 17 years of important work, dedication, doing what's right for kids, having the highest graduation rate in the state of Kansas, I think the last 3 years in a row, and has worked tirelessly for the students his whole time here. And Steve Dyke, if you're here, could you please stand up? There he is. That's my last chance to embarrass him, so I want to make that good. Okay, I was asked to give a kind of they call it a SWOT analysis, but I focused on strengths, challenges, and opportunities, and I can't read that very well, so this is how unprepared your superintendent is. I should have gotten LASIK before I did this or something, or brought a hard copy, but I'm going to leave that up there just for a few minutes, and this is the message I gave to the Chamber of Commerce and our local businesses, and I'm trying to sum it up, and I'm not going to go through all of it, but you will notice that we are trying to move a focus away from so much on four-year universities, and which is an important thing, and we're not going to lose anything in that regard, but also more options for students who will not be or don't want to attend a four-year university and are prepared for a wide variety of options as they leave high school. And that is also a focus on the state of Kansas, which is the probably 3.5 minutes I have left that I want to talk to you about. You'll notice that the ones that are, I can almost read because I bold-faced them, that we are, this world is moving so quickly. This has always been an issue, but it's becoming more of an issue all the time. It's moving geometrically now, and how can high schools in particular, the public education, keep pace? And so that's really what the topic is, and you'll notice that one of our opportunities is something the state is doing regarding cognitive, social, emotional skills. I'll tell you how that came about, but you will notice that, in my opinion, every strength is a challenge and every challenge is an opportunity. And we have an opportunity to really, I would say, I don't think it's overstating it to say revolutionize how we're educating kids so that they're prepared for whatever they want to do after high school. And this is a statistic that will back that up. How many of you in here have a student or more at Lansing Elementary School? Raise your hands, please. Okay, I'm seeing quite a few, lots of them. Now, I don't want you to panic, but at least half of them will be eventually employed full-time when they get older in jobs that do not exist right now, and we can't even really think about what they might be. That's how fast this is going. You start saying it's going to be artificial intelligence as an option, and there's a lot of things that we don't even know about yet. So that is part of the challenge that we are trying to overcome. And if I can read that, I'd have somebody read that out to me. Okay, good. All right, so you have to turn the lights off in here sometimes. Okay, so how do we prepare students for that? So here's one thing that the state of Kansas has done. And the goal in mind here is to essentially improve upon and change the culture of how we teach and the people teaching them. And it's going beyond math and reading, the 4 R's, and it's teaching a series of skills that all of the businesses in Kansas have said, this is what we need. Bring me students that can do these things and we're fine. I can teach them how to do the things on the job, for the most part. We hear a lot of that. these are the skills we need, and so this is becoming our focus in education. It's a little bit different than it was when you and I were going through public schools. You cannot read this, that's okay. You weren't supposed to. I knew I wasn't going to be able to read this one. It's called the College and Career Framework, Competency Framework. These are those skills. Personal skills, interpersonal, intrapersonal, cognitive. By the way, if you get my many, many emails, you're going to be seeing this probably today. So you can sit around and study it on the weekend if you want to. We are starting with self-regulation. And we're going to go through these, and it is a never-ending process of improving the needed skills of students so that when they either go to college or enter the workforce, they are ready. I am totally behind this. The Commissioner of Education of Kansas was standing at the rail 2 days ago, and we were talking about this, and he was a big instigator of this, and it was a great conversation. He thinks we're making good progress. But like most Kansas districts, we're just getting started. So, beyond what Kansas is doing, what do we need to do for our people? Our teachers were never taught how to teach this. They're really good at their subject area, but how do we go about learning this ourselves and being role models for it and not just reading out of a book and hopefully they pick up skills? It's not the same thing. So, in a related sense, here's what I've been focusing on with the principals and the teachers, starting with the teachers, leaders, the LEA representatives. I see a few of you out there. They can stand up and give me an amen when I'm telling them this, because then you know I'm not lying to you. I see a blue box, kind of empty, and we hear a lot of cliches, and this is one of them. Get out of the box. Well, nobody ever tells you what's in the box. And if you want to get out of the box, you probably need to find out what's in it, right? And then maybe talk about what's out of it. And so here's how we're getting out of the box at Lansing 469. When we focus on these things, we're focusing on the box, and I'm just going to kind of rattle these off quickly. I wish I could read them. Appearances, regulations, fear, blame. These aren't going to be in any order because I can't really read it from here. We work against these things constantly because we want a positive culture at Lansing. And it is a positive culture, but there's always room for improvement. Separation. 99.9% of us are the same. You can talk DNA, our feelings, how we live life. We are so little bit different. It's 0.1%. But for some reason, and we see this every day, we tend to focus on that 0.1% and not the 99.9. If we could do a better job of that, then we're out of the box, and instead of being in it, we're doing these things. Improving our relationships. 75 years study by Harvard. 300 Harvard sophomores, 300 Boston impoverished children. They followed them for 75 years and tried to find out what makes people happy. Well, the wealthy Harvard kids were pretty happy. But in the end, after 75 years, there's about 60 of them left. Because some of them were, in their 20s when they started. And they discovered one ultimate truth of happiness. If you have this, if you are connected to people, you have enough true connections with human beings, that is what determines your happiness. If you think it's how big your house is, etc., not according to the longest study of human happiness in history, that's the one. That's a little outside the box. I'm going to rattle the rest off because I'm going to have to be done. Compassion. Yeah, read those off, Mr. Hill. You're a lot closer than I am. Go.
Team, trust, relationships, and self-esteem.
That's right. That is what we're focusing on. So, I try to get specific with that big circle of the CC framework, Career and College framework. These are things that we need to focus on. I've been lecturing, talking to, discussing a variety of topics related to this since I've been here. And they probably get tired of me acting like Dr. Phil instead of Dr. Stuffleman. But this is what makes working at Lansing a great place. We're having a hard time competing with Kansas City in regard to attracting and keeping teachers. And having a fantastic, positive workplace where people really care about you is a big help. This is back one. This is the only major initiative for this year that we've started. This is with the principals and the leaders of LEA. There's Debbie Beal right there who's done this. She can testify to this. All right, so what I've done in order to encourage courageous communication, you saw courage on the chart. We sometimes have a difficult time telling people what we think because we're afraid. The fear in the box versus the courage. I ask nicely for all the principals and then all of the teacher leaders of the district to sit down with me and tell me why I'm a bad superintendent. To criticize me. Find something and you won't have any problems. Find something that I'm not doing right or that I should be doing that I'm not doing. And that was not easy for them. It was not easy for me. But the point is, if they know they can talk to me, and that I'm not going to get upset because they told me I'm going to do something differently, and I thank them for it, and then I show them what I'm going to do to get better, then they know that they can trust me, and I can trust them. It was all very constructive. And I'll be telling every teacher in the district the wide variety of things that I'm messing up and tell them how I'm going to get better. And it's okay to talk to people, to have a direct, courageous communication. You can have difficult conversations without being difficult. You don't have to go around the indirect path of talking to other people. Talk to them. And that's a big goal for us, and it's an improvement we need to make. That was going to be in the agenda, Jeff, in May, but we have so much on the agenda, I'm going to have to move it to June. Sorry, I know you're really excited about this. So, last thing, and I'm done. I have no idea where I am in 5 minutes, but my last 15 seconds, my last thing is, you're wondering, hey, Daryl, or the students, Dr. Stuffleby, what can we do? This makes sense. We want to communicate courageously also. It sounds like a mature way to communicate. What can we do? So I have this cartoon for you to think about, and I hope you probably can't read it. Mr. Young, Tom, read out loud what that father saying to his child.
Joey, what have I told you? If you can't say something nice, post it on social media platforms.
We do read your Facebook posts. We love you anyway. When it's snowing and school's in session, I get it. I still love you. You can talk to me. I'll understand. I'll even explain why we're in school. Some of the tweets I get, okay? It's okay, man. I don't take it personally. And your safety is important to me. So, just something to think about how we should communicate together. This is one of many initiatives, but the bottom line is Lansing should be a fantastic place to live. And luckily, we definitely have the people to make it probably one of the happiest places on earth. And that's kind of what we want. Thank you.
Step keeps getting higher every year. Now, it's my honor to introduce our guest speaker, Danny Boatwright. Danny is an entrepreneur outfitting the sports fan by designing apparel for her company Sideline Chic in Bonner Springs, Kansas. Boatwright's passion for sports has landed her hosting roles with ESPN2, the fantasy show, CBS's The 10 Greatest College Shooters of All Time, the March Madness Coaches Show, and 610 Sports Radio in Kansas City. Danny Boatwright is also a model, TV celebrity, and winner of the title of Miss Kansas Teen USA 93, second runner-up at the National Miss Teen USA pageant, and 4 years later won the title of Miss Kansas USA 96, and finished first runner-up in the National Miss USA competition. Most recently, she is the $1 million winner of CBS's Survivor Guatemala. Boatwright's greatest accomplishment is being a mother of two vivacious boys, Bo and Stone. And she is married to former Kansas City Chief and NFL Pro Bowl center, Casey Wigman. Please welcome Danny Boatwright. We'll
You want to make sure they don't screw up anything for you over there because you're working so hard. Well, it's kind of hard to see that, but that was a little bit of a highlight reel since when I was on Survivor, it was such a long time ago. It does feel like it was yesterday, but it was such a long time ago, so I wanted you guys to be able to kind of get a feel of what my game was on Survivor. How many Survivor fans do we have? You guys, okay, you don't like that. You guys can at least lie. I won't know any different. Raise your hand. You're really missing out on an epic show, though. So there's a lot of, whenever I speak, I get a lot of people come up to me afterwards and will ask a lot of questions about Survivor. And I think some people are afraid to ask some of the questions that they'd like to know about Survivor. I see this man yawning over here. You may need to get another cup of coffee. It's going to be about 15 minutes. There you go. All right. I'm right there with you. I'm like 4 hours of sleep. So anyway, I want to go over some of the questions, top questions we get about Survivor. And for all of you back there that love you, that are in the house, Survivor fans, woo, you can come up and ask me anything you want to afterwards. I know that I have like 15 minutes. Give me my little cue when I need to wrap it up, okay? Because I can talk. My brother Wes Cackler is out here. I can talk, can I, Wes? Yes, yep. Okay, so some of the frequently asked questions we get from Survivor is, 1, why or how did I audition? Many of you might have saw, like last week, they had an audition out at Nebraska Furniture Mart. I did not go that route, and if you wanted to audition for Survivor, don't go that route. Put a videotape in to CBS. That's what I did. I did a videotape of hanging out with my brothers, playing basketball, playing with my dogs, talking about my John Wayne collection, a huge John Wayne fan, and answer some of the questions CBS had as I answered those. We were showing videotape of just showing who I was, all the different parts of my personality. Send it in to CBS. I got a call 2 weeks later to come out to LA. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. My mom is the one who told me to audition from the beginning. She said, you'd be great for this show. I'm like, are you kidding me? I get voted off right away. I'm such a mouthpiece. But so we auditioned for it. I got out to LA, and they put us in a hotel room. You can't leave your hotel room. They have somebody come and get you from your hotel room to take you into all of the meetings you have to go into with CBS, with Jeff Probst, like all the producers of the show. So I went out there and was sitting in a hotel room for over a week, and I could only leave when they came to get me. Well, I got a little tired of that, so one day I actually snuck out and ran up and down Santa Monica Boulevard, took myself to dinner, and I came back and I got in trouble a little bit for sneaking out, but that's okay. It's probably what they liked, and I'd be fine for the show at that point. I get the question, was it real? Yes, it was real. Did you guys, I don't know if you could see on there how skinny I got. I lost about 30 pounds on the show. I started just under 130. I came a little over 30 pounds I lost. I was 96 pounds when I came back from the show. So I did not get food. Everybody says, did they give you food back behind the scenes? No. If they did, I didn't get any of it. So, and I guess our season, they said the catch was that it was the toughest one as far as the weather conditions, and that we did the lack of food that we had. We had no food. I was eating maggot corn. That's what I ate. Found a termite's nest that I ate, and they were really high in protein, but you have to eat a lot of them. And then we found some lizard eggs. Those were actually really good, and that was really nice when you could find those. We tried to fish. We weren't having much luck. I'm a Tongi girl. You think I'd know how to fish? I thought I knew how to fish. Couldn't catch anything in the jungle. And there were some mean crocodiles out there that I tried to avoid too. People ask, where did you go to the bathroom in the jungle? So they don't have restrooms out there. You have to they designate an area where you go to the bathroom. So you just go out there and you poo and you pee in the jungle, and you have to dig a hole to go to the bathroom, and then you put a stick in it so nobody else will, dig there later on. It's real, man, that's what happens. That's nasty, isn't it? It's gross. You have to find a leaf that works well too. I recommend anytime if you're in the jungle, test those things on your hand or your arm first to make sure you're not allergic to it, because that can be very uncomfortable. In fact, there's a scene where you can see some people talking on one of our episodes, and you see me in the background, and I'm going like this. Because I had a lot of bites on my butt from all the mosquitoes and rashes from some things that I'm not sure where they came from, but it was uncomfortable. It's tough out there. Do I stay in contact with the cast? Yes. Except for the final 2 that I voted out, I think they're still bitter. But the rest of the cast, we stay in contact. We like family, and they're just wonderful people. One of the kids that was on there with me was from Manhattan, farm kid from Manhattan. He's now serving in our military, and he was the most wonderful person I've ever met in my life. He was like a little brother to me out there. And in fact, our plan was for Brandon and I to go to the Final Two to make Kansas proud, and everybody recognized what a threat he was, so they voted him out. And he's awesome, and if we would have gone to the Final Two, he would have won, and I would have been completely happy with that because he was amazing. Is Jeff nice? Yes, he is very nice. He's all about business. And that tribal council could last like 2 hours, okay? And they just, edit it down to make it look like 5 minutes or whatever. And one time in tribal council, Jeff got so frustrated with me. He said, boat ride. He just goes, stop tape, and they hate to do that, okay? And he said, listen, he goes, I'm tired of every time I ask you a question, your answer is, everything's a picnic in Kansas in September. It's like, I want a real answer. I'm gonna start taping it. I'm gonna ask you the same question, I want a real answer. So when he started to tape back up, I gave him the exact same answer. Big old smile, and he just looked at me like, oh, geez. But I knew he was trying to, run his show, trying to be the host, but I was also trying to play my game, which was, I didn't want to let anybody in on really what my strategy was, and just kind of be friendly and like the all-American girl next door, and Mom says I'm the velvet steamroller. That's what I was out there. Level up and then plow him over when you had to. So Jeff would get frustrated with me because I was always just giving these friendly little answers when he knew there was more to it. So he'd get a little frustrated, but he was very nice. My strategy in the game was actually just to adjust to what the game threw at me. I think a lot of people go into the game, they have to set strategy, and then when everything gets turned upside down, they don't know how to adjust. And so I just adjust to what's going to happen in the game, and it obviously worked well for me. At the end, when we merged 2 tribes, our tribe had less numbers. They started attacking us, voting us off one by one. And since I was the only girl on our tribe, they thought the men were the threat. Go right ahead, vote them off first. Gave me a little more time to figure out stuff, and that worked in my favor. And so I figured out how to break the alliance that was voting us off one by one at the time. I don't get really frustrated when people say you flew under the radar. I didn't fly under the radar, it's just I didn't have a lot of controversy going on in my game. The one thing I never wanted to compromise was who I am. I'm very competitive, but I didn't want to go out there and stab anybody in the back, which you have to do a lot of times in the game of Survivor. I didn't want to have to do those things. Unfortunately, I didn't have to do that. And they just didn't show a lot of game. They showed the people who were fighting, they showed the people who were just more controversial. And so they showed more of their game, and they didn't show a lot of my game, and that really bothered me, because there'd be people say, oh, you flew under the radar. I'm like, no, I beat the radar. But that was one of the things that would always frustrate me when people would talk about that. Challenges, they last like 5 hours long. They edit them down to make them look like they're 5 minutes. One challenge we had was this basketball challenge, and they said it's the first 1 to 10. Well, when we watched the actual show, it was the first 1 to 5 is what they said. And we had won that challenge 10 to 3. And so they made it look like on the show it was 5 to 3. So they would take the challenges and edit them down. And so that was kind of interesting. And what was the first thing I did with the money when I came back? Well, first of all, I paid my taxes because I didn't want to end up in jail like Richard Hatch. So I paid my taxes. And then my dog Hondo, which was named after a John Wayne movie, was a Rhodesian Ridgeback, and he had hip dysplasia. So I took him down to Kansas State, and any K-State fans in the house? I'm a Jayhawk, but I did not go to the University of Missouri to have that hip replacement. I went to K-State, and they gave my dog a great quality of life, so I'll forever be grateful to Kansas State University for doing that for my dog. Great principal. And then adjusting to life after Survivor. It was really interesting when I came back because I ate everything in sight. I was so hungry. And in fact, my mom would pick me up to take me places, and I'd bring like a bag of food. And she's like, why do you bring a bag of food? Well, she said, well, I'll feed you. And I'm like, I'm hungry all the time. I'm so hungry. And then I go to the grocery store, and I wanted to buy everything. Little Debbie snack cakes, the frozen food, like it looked so good. The picture on the package, I wanted everything. I think I gained 30 pounds in like 2 weeks when I got back. Acid reflux was kind of a problem, and then I couldn't sleep in bed. I had to sleep on the floor for a while because I was so used to sleeping out in the jungle. And then some of the critters that we'd see. I saw a tarantula the size of a hubcap. I'm not even kidding you, just scamper across the campsite one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am not in Kansas anymore. So we'd see a lot of crazy stuff out there. So there's just some of the questions that we get about Survivor that a lot of people will ask. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to come to me afterwards. What a lot of people don't know about, we mentioned earlier when you were introducing me, some of the things that I've accomplished. I traveled around the world as a model. Look at this. Second and click. Got it? No. Okay, hold on. Nope. Nope. Okay. Oh. If you get it up there, then we'll talk about it. I traveled around the world as a model since at a young age, and it was one of the best educations I could have. And it was really amazing of all the things I got to see and do and experience. I got to meet Lady Diana, which was really cool, actually when I was in Rome. And modeling just provided a lot of opportunities to just do some things I wouldn't normally get to do. Pageants, which were a lot of fun. Miss USA 1996, when they announced me as the first runner-up, I almost grabbed the crown off of the winner's head and drop-kicked it into the audience, but I thought that might be frowned upon, so I refrained from it. ESPN, that was so much fun because my passion is sports. Celeb TV. Now I am working on a children's series with my best friend that's in town from Florida about 5 different characters who have overcome major obstacles in their life to go on to do great and mighty things. Because I feel a lot of people can look at some stars and people think, gosh, I can't accomplish what they've accomplished. But if you really look at it, everybody comes from somewhere, everybody's faced struggles, adversities, closed doors, and so we've been writing a children's series about this in order to encourage kids to dream big, protect that dream, and then find pillars in your life that'll help you accomplish your dreams. I love kids, I love my kids, I love your kids. I think adults suck, but kids are awesome. So I love to hang around them. And I even, let's go here, there's some modeling pictures, boy, thank God for airbrushing. And then Sideline Chics, the company I started, come visit us in Bonner Springs. We're on Oak Street. We do customized game day apparel. Started that once I got back from Chicago when I got married, because I was like, oh, I need something to go do every day. I'm going to drive my poor husband absolutely crazy. So I started this company and I've had a lot of fun. I have never worked harder for less money in my life, but I'm having a great time, and that's what it's all about, right? And I work with a great group of gals. And there's my family. And my husband, in the middle there, used to play for the Chiefs. He looks just like Mr. Incredible. Anybody seen The Incredibles? In fact, the poor guy when we were dating, after I had won Survivor, a little kid came up to me and he goes, he had an Incredible shirt on, and he wanted my autograph. And I said, your parents sent you up here to get this autograph, didn't they? And he said, yeah. And I said, that's okay. I said, you're Incredibles fan? Yeah. And I said, Mr. Incredible is here. He's like, no. I said, yeah, he's sitting right over there. I said, go ask him for his autograph. He'll give it to you. He goes, okay. So he walks over to my husband, well, at the time, we were just dating, and he, tapped on his shoulder and said, Mr. Incredible. And my husband, boyfriend at the time, looked over at me and just went, and I said, you signed that for him. You signed it. And later on, I asked him how he signed it. He said he signed it to Casey Wigman. I'm like, you're a fun hater. That's not nice. Poor little kid. And then there's our 2 boys. Now the oldest one, Bo, well first of all, I gotta talk about the little guy. See him sticking his tongue out over here? I don't know if you guys can see that. He's got us all fooled. I mean, he's 7. So last year, at his elementary school, he gets honored for being a terrific tiger that shows great leadership skills, kindness. I was, what? I mean, I'm glad we got this award, but do you have the kids mixed up? Because he, hits me at the house. No, he's a good kid. He's just really honoring. Don't know where he gets that from. Okay, so here's Bo. Can you play this video? He thinks, no, here we go. He's the one hitting the 3-pointer here. Yeah, how about that? Woo-hoo, gets that from Mom. Actually, gets that from Uncle Wes over here. He thinks he's the next Steph Curry, great kid. But that's the thing, there's a million guards out there, right? Kid can play basketball, sweet kid. But I don't want to discourage him from his dream. So right now, we're playing basketball and having fun, but I also want him to know maybe there's some other options in the NBA. Maybe you could be a coach, an owner, or a team doctor. You never know. There's a lot of different options, and everyone squash those dreams. And then here's Stone. see smile in those going. There he goes for the layup. Hey, that's where we're going to be right there. He's going to be a Major League Baseball umpire. That one is, and he's going to be really good at it. He's going to argue with the best of them. Anyways, for those both boys, I coach his basketball team, and let me tell you, there's nothing more challenging than coaching first grade basketball. Okay, so here, we're going to get to the whole point of the speech, because I know you guys, we've got a little bit amount of time here, and you've got to get on to all these amazing awards. I just want to talk about these three people real quick. Do you guys know what these three people have in common? You might not, because I don't know if you can see it real well here, but that is Michael Jordan, J.K. Rowling, and then that's Joe Lane right there. They've all had success after major shut doors. The first one, Michael Jordan, you guys probably know his story about how he tried out for the varsity team basketball his sophomore year and was rejected. He didn't make the team. And instead of, I see how many kids decide, I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to quit after that and not be a part of the team and just give up. Michael Jordan went and worked harder, and look, if he had quit, we would have never had the greatest basketball player of all time. And I say that because I love Steph Curry, love LeBron James. Kobe Bryant's a great player. But they didn't go to college. Michael Jordan did, and went on to be the greatest, I say, college basketball player and professional basketball player there was. And we would have never had that if he gave up on his dream. If he would have given up on one shut door, he would have never had the career that he had, which was, as we all know, absolutely amazing. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. If you guys don't know her story, I encourage everybody to Google it, because it's absolutely amazing how many shut doors she faced, how many publishers told her no, and her sister encouraged her not to give up on her dream. And she was a struggling single mom who barely made ends meet, and she never gave up on that dream, and now she's the first billionaire author. How incredible is that? And she could have easily given up, and I just think of how many people give up when shut doors come their way. Now this is Joe Lane. Probably nobody knows Joe Lane in here. But I put him up here because I have two famous people. Had to put Joe Lane up here, who's my neighbor. Because we hear about famous people achieving great things all the time, but sometimes it's just the guy next door. This is our neighbor who moved from Las Vegas. He'd had a business that he started in Vegas, and it went bankrupt. And instead of letting the closed door just devastate him, Joe, they packed up their stuff, his wife and two kids, moved to Kansas City, and Joe looked at his wife as they were heading to Kansas City, and he said, that was just the best education I could have right there. I know what not to do the next time in business. He didn't give up, came back here, and started a software company that he just sold a couple of years ago for I don't know how many millions of dollars. And he never, when he faced adversity, he just got right back up and punched it in the face. And I love that about Joe. He has a big heart. He has an amazing family. And Joe gives back, and he also is a pillar for people in his community who are trying to achieve their dreams too. And couldn't be more proud for Joe and his family. My uncle, who's a pastor in Arizona, likes to say that setbacks, and so I said this, setbacks are the stage for epic comebacks. And all the kids that are out here have this beautiful mind who are getting ready to be honored here today. I want you guys to know that you have such a bright future ahead of you, but you're also going to face adversity. You're going to face shut doors. Don't let it devastate you from what your dream is. Keep your eye on the prize. Dream big. Protect that dream. Don't let anybody take that away from you. And from all the other people out here that are a little bit older, who maybe you're at that stage like Joe, where you've worked hard, now you're playing hard, take the time to look for someone in your community, your neighborhood, your family, who needs a pillar, who needs that encouragement for them to make their dreams come true. I like to think Tom Landry once said, and I'll leave you guys with this. He said, today you have 100% of the rest of your life ahead of you. So what are you going to do with it? So in true Survivor fashion, I want to challenge you all of you guys to think of that. You have 100% of the rest of your life today. What are you going to do with it? And I encourage you, for all these young people that are in here today, that are in your community, be that pillar in their life and help them make their dreams come true. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Danny. That was amazing. You are quite a charming young woman. I would like you to come up here. I have a gift to present to you. it's a small token of our appreciation for the time and energy that you've given to us today. I thought it was very powerful. We have terracotta lion. It's a tile from our Wall of Pride that's over in the district auditorium. I think we have flowers for you too, and right now, I need all the students, awardees, to please go to the West Pride hallway, which is back over here, and line up. You'll be lining up by this year's grade level. So look for your current grade level sign on the wall. So, and I'd like to introduce now Deanne Wessel, Lansing's Assistant Superintendent of Schools, to announce the teachers receiving the Educated Pride grants.
Good morning, all. It's my pleasure once again to introduce all our Educated Pride LES grants for this last school year. Teachers, as you make your way this way, if you'll congregate over here to stage right, I believe it's the front, if you're looking at the stage, and we'll take a picture in the bleachers. First of all, in the elementary school, we had our Level-Ears Need a Listening Center, Ashley Baker, Mary Ann Austin, and Atherton Shelley. Girls on the Run, our 5K group, Maggie Hughes. Bernie Miller Nature Center, Molly Adams, and Brandy Lynn. LES Art Program Grant, Alyssa Lineweaver, and Doug Cat. I would like to take 1 second, though, to thank Dr. Stufflebeam for allowing me that hour-and-a-half session we had about all of those things that he could do better. So I'd like to just take that. I know it was a long morning, but really appreciate that. Next at our middle school is Literacy for the Ages, Becky Lowry and the 7th grade team. Brain Pop 2.0, Jennifer Kolb and Diane Pointer. Happy Adams, 7th grade science, Stacy Jenkins and Stephanie Major. International Studies Fund Grant, Eastern Asia, Emily Duker. And also Emily Duker with the LMS Art Program Grant. This next one is a grant that my son enjoys immensely, as I believe most high school students do, and that's MB Vocabulary Instruction. May Walden Megan Johnson, Shelley Twitchell in the ELA department. And it's been the cause of more than one vacation and just some time with his parents at home. So thank you for that grant, Elliot. Life Skills Curriculum, Linda Kelby and Kelly Denton. World Language Library, Bianca Elliott and Sarah Clyde. Cyclorama Lighting, Johnny Bryce, Ruth Moreland, and Casey McCord. LHS Theater Field Trip, Sweeney Todd, Casey McCord. The LHS Art Program Grant, Tracy Schmidt, and Casey Simmons. Next, under the Special Education and Autism Grant Program, books are here, books are there, preschool books are everywhere. Lori Daly and Kelly Knapp. Yes, I do read Dr. Seuss. So if you'd like anyone to come, I can do that. Now I know my ABCs, Carrie Lutesky and Lori Daly. Exercise in Disguise, Marjorie Thompson and Ron Malcolm. Employment Training for Students with Severe Disabilities, Ron Malcolm. Defining Educational Access Freely, Deaf, Brad Sternberg. Sensory Seeking for Success, Amanda Edwards and Beth Perkins. Assessing the Progress, Beth Perkins. Readers Theater for Fluency and Social Skills, Beth Perkins and Paisley Hayes. The AT&T Aspire Grant, Lansing Transitioning for Life Success Project. And that was an $8,000 grant through AT&T. And lastly, we had some building projects that affect the entire buildings that our principals get behind and support. And that's the Lansing Elementary K-5, their Behavior Intervention Support Team, Lansing Middle School, used theirs for Challenge Day, and the Lansing High School provided some funds for our leadership class. There are also some grant highlights that the entire LEF works on and provide for our school district. The Delta Dental Toothbrush Kit Grant. They provide toothbrush, floss, toothpaste for every student, pre-K through 8th grade. The Overland Park Rotary Reads Children's Literacy Project, which are books for children in early childhood, Tiny K, and parents, teachers. Reading Recovery. Also the LES Backpack Buddies program, the Early Childhood Speech, and New Beginnings, and LES. At this point in time, do I have a photographer? A photographer? No. I thought. John, will you take a picture of that for me? That way when you call me after a board meeting and ask me, I can ask you for that photo. Thank you.
Vicki Kelly, if you would come forward, and our principal for the Lansing 3-5 Elementary will come forward and present the awards to her students.
The 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students who have the highest state assessment scores in the 2016-2017 school year are Lincoln Bear, Cole Edmonds, Andrew Ferguson, Angela Fisher, Nevaeh Gunderson, Haven Kane, Owen Canaday, Avery Mon, Kaden May, Zena Nelson, Kylie Novak, Lillian Strain, Christopher Ahord, Benjamin Dowdy, Jonathan Duncan, Aiden Ellington, Jocelyn Hawk, Brooklyn Hockland, Julian Johnston, Alexander Kinney, Raven Mendoza Smith, Brianna Mize, Anaya Nelson, Emily Ortega, Xander Perez, Addison Rebarchek, Daniel Runnebaum, Antonio Santiago, Claire Schultz, Rachel Schultz, Grace Seward, Hayden Shore, Alyssa Stalter, William Yu, Tyler Weedle, Carson Zimmerman, Terrence Allen, Liam Bargery, Lauren Botcher, Ava Bear, Maston Burchett, Savannah Carter, Jonathan Corrigan, Kaylin Dunlap, Isabella Edmonds, Isabella Escalante, Macy Fabian, Gavin Hope, Caden Howe, Logan Hughes, Emma Jazwick, Aiden Kennedy, Grace Klemp, Nathan Last, Isaac Vaughn, Sophia Mansell, Hannah Parvin, Owen Perry, Laurel Pierce, Lucian Rader, Darren Richards, Connor Roussan, Wyatt Seaman, Catch Talbot, Virginia Vanderwerf, Elizabeth Wangsgard, Kara Wessel, Caden White, Ainsley Yoakum, and Trinity Young.
going to recognize the students that did extremely well on the 2016-2017 Kansas State Assessment, which, by the way, is an incredibly arduous test. Those students are Elijah Bagby, Kylie Greenlove, Zachary Clark, Megan Daly, Lucas Daniels, Antonio DePaulis, Kalia Gaines, Caleb Grinstead, Peter Hamilton, Mason Mattingly, Hannah Platt, Robert Reeves, Samuel Schmidt, Claire Snyder, Nicole Sadarsky, Elijah Yoken, Megan Betcher, Spencer Bryan, Alexis Buchholz, Robert Crow, Jacob Dowdy, Alan Escalante, Wyatt Howlett, Kendra Leslie, Timothy Neal, Anthony Nicholson, Emma Santillo, Calvin Sholey, Camilla Tanner, Halen Toder, Nina Vivero, Rebecca Wangsgard, Nolan Wolf, Elizabeth Allen, Aubriana Anderson, Madeline Atkins, Catherine Bakken, Jackson Barrett, Aaron Brown, Taylor Cackler, Evan Case, Danielle Edwards, Michael Fox, Sabrina Giannuzio, Eula Hammond, Connor Hassey, Future Horse Sertucci, Anthony Krebs, Camden Maestas, Emma McLeod, Callista McPherson, Alexis Mulvaney, Vinay Patel, Tucker Pierce, Esther Platt, William Rawson, Philip Sheehan, Jeffrey Steniford, Benjamin Stonestreet, Taylor Thompson, Grayson Walker. Congratulations, students.
And I can't believe this is the last time that we'll be introducing you here, Dyke, principal at the high school.
Good morning. This year we will recognize a group of juniors and a group of seniors with the criteria of 4.0 through their 5th and 7th semesters consecutively. A group of ACT seniors with 30 or better on the ACT, and a group of SAT seniors with a cumulative score of 1390 or better. The 5-semester 4.0 juniors: Logan Bernard, Kaylee Berry, Mary Lukopolowski, Ashley Fox, Cassidy Kiefer, Dean Joel, Aurora Gray, Celeste Hammond, Annalise Holland, Drew Clem, Taylor Lang, Joseph Kaczynski, Darby Vance, Haley Messiah, Heather Short, Dakota Sill, John Bosmer, Dalen Williams, and Aaron Young. Seniors with a 4.0 through 7 semesters, Kara Babcock, Andrew Bartholomew, Olivia Bishop, Megan Ernsten, Alexandra Evans, Madeline Fay, Zach Green, Hannah Kirby, T. Rickle, Alex Russell, Leo Wiegers, Elliot Wilkes, and Jerry Wong. Some of these individuals are already in the group. Some others will be joining us. As I read their name, ACT seniors, 30 or better, Thomas Atkins, Andrew Bartholomew, Madeline Fay, Zach Green, Henry Hammond, Elizabeth Krebs, T. Rickle, Lydia Shields, Nathan Starman, Leo Wiegers, John Wolken, Jerry Wong. SAT 1390 or better, Lydia Shields, Zach Green, T. Rickle, and Henry Hammond. Here's take a picture now. I will have three more to announce here in just a second. This year, I have 2 individuals that are PSAT National Merit Scholar finalists. I would like to have remain up here Zachary Green and Henry Hammond. Neither of them are here. Dalen Williams, please come forward. Dalen Williams was selected as an outstanding student for the Topeka chapter of the Military Order of the World Wars after attending the Great Plains Youth Leadership Conference. He will receive a $300 award from the local chapter of the Military Order of the World Wars. As the outstanding student, Dalen will automatically become eligible to compete next winter in a National Phoenician Essay Award contest, which you can win a $2,000 scholarship. His competition in this contest will be against other outstanding students from the Youth Leadership Conference at approximately 15 locations across the country. Congratulations, Dalen, and good luck with your essays. And finally, one of the awards that was begun last year was the Governor's Community Service Award. This year, 1 junior and 1 senior are selected annually. These students are nominated by the high school staff. These students are chosen and must display the following criteria: dedicated commitment to serving his or her community. They must have volunteered their time to help those in need at a nonprofit community organization, faith-based organization, business, school, or national service program. They must have consistently put the needs of others above his or her own, and they must set themselves apart from their peers through that level of service. The junior recipient this year is Mr. Hunter Hotelling. Hunter has displayed all the criteria above, and he serves to help others because it's the right thing to do. He feels the community has given him so much, it is his obligation to give back. Hunter has spearheaded several different projects, including Project Firebird and Go Purple. Congratulations, Hunter. This year's senior recipient is Miss Megan Urgent. Megan has displayed all the criteria above, and she serves because she loves to see firsthand the impact it has on the community. Megan plans to attend North Central Missouri College in the fall, where she will continue her pursuit of academic excellence and play basketball for the Lady Pirates. Congratulations. Thank you.
Sorry, I kind of lost my place here. Mary Alice Schrager, if you come forward and introduce our awardees, the teacher awardees.
Good morning. Mr. Charles Green, please come forward to the podium. Mr. Green currently works for the Lansing School District in a couple of capacities. He is a bus driver representing the transportation team, and he also works as a para-educator for the special education team at the elementary school on the K-2 side. I'm sure his mornings start really early. After driving the bus, he then moves to assisting some of our special education students with reading, math, and writing. He enjoys working with children, and it shows they also like him. They will seek him out to share both their joys and their sorrows. He has been of great assistance helping children self-regulate by building relationships and giving pep talks. He can often be found in the cafeteria, hallways, playgrounds, and classrooms, talking with students in a thoughtful, caring manner. Taking the initiative, Mr. Green helps out wherever he is needed by taking an interest in what the students are doing and by assisting teachers so that their classrooms run more smoothly. He demonstrates a true care for children and staff members alike. He serves as an important role model for our K-2 students. Outside the school environment, Mr. Green participates in the community by umpiring and is an active member in his church. He is an important member of the educational community of the Lansing School District. It is with great honor that I announce Mr. Green as a Lansing School District Support Professional of the Year.
Thank you and good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank God. Without Him, this wouldn't be possible at all. I can't express how grateful I am for receiving this award. I would like to thank the people who nominated me for this award. Thank you all. I can remember when I was growing up, I lost my mom at a young age of 10 years old. Not knowing what was going to happen to me, I became lost. Lost in love. I didn't know what love was because my mom was the love of my life. You know, being 10 years old, losing your mom, you really just don't know what you're going to do. So I began to look for love that my mom displayed throughout the years. I found myself doing things to be accepted, trying to please everybody, but still not finding love. So as I started on this new journey in my life, I told myself I would never let a child go without love, no matter what the cost is. The reason I say all of this was to let everybody know that love should be given, not earned. A child shouldn't have to earn your love. Shouldn't have to try to please you. And it states here in John 3:16, it says, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son freely. So that's what we should do. Ephesians 4:2, be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bear with one another in love. James 15:12, this is the commandment that God's given to everybody. My commandment is this love. My command is this love each other as I have loved you. I'd like to thank you all, and God bless you all.
Mrs. Cheryl Borgeson, please come forward to the podium. Mrs. Borgeson has been working in the Lansing School District as a paraeducator in the Special Education Department at the middle school since 2014. She truly enhances the educational environment in many ways, such as supporting special needs students with care, generosity, and compassion. She knows how to build strong connections with students who then seek her out later for academic assistance or perhaps personal concerns. She clearly enjoys her work as she often has a smile on her face. With a strong work ethic herself, Mrs. Borgeson is able to inspire students to do their best by being positive and encouraging. Organized and participatory, Mrs. Borgeson knows how to work with the most challenging students, utilizing a great combination of patience and I understand firmness. She maintains high expectations of students with regard to their behavior, effort, and accountability for work. She is always ready to lend an extra hand if classrooms are short-staffed or an event needs an extra adult. Teachers and administrators see her as part of the teaching and learning team. She is adept at working with a wide range of teachers at the middle school while often going above and beyond the expectation of the job. Well regarded and respected, Mrs. Borgeson is an integral part of the middle school educational team. It is with great honor that I announce Mrs. Cheryl Borgeson as a Lansing School District Support Professional of the Year.
Wow, thank you. So, Dr. Stufflebeam got 5 minutes, I get 1. So, first I'd like to thank the Lansing Educational Foundation for this honor and for the breakfast. Special thanks to Carrie Barnyard and Brooks Jenkins for your consistent support in me in my role as a para in your building. I want to extend my gratitude to Becky Cranhold for always showing me your trust and confidence and allowing me to come back into your room year after year and be a part of the team. Special thanks also goes out to Rachel Shealy, the 7th grade Stripes team, and all the other wonderful teachers that I've had the opportunity to work with over the past 5 years. You've always treated me like an equal, like a part of your teaching team, and I've always felt appreciated. Last but not least, I'd like to thank Teresa Kraft, who has shown me the ropes from the very beginning and has shared with me her wealth of knowledge and experience in dealing with these children. It's apparent for me from the day I started how much she loves doing what she does, and I can honestly say I truly do love what I do. I love working with these kids. I thank you for this honor. Thanks.
Mrs. Hannon, please come forward to the podium. Mrs. Ellen Hannon demonstrates positive thinking, innovation, and caring as a classroom teacher. She has served as an educator in the Lansing Elementary School for many, many years. I actually asked her this morning how many years, and she said 39. Quite an accomplishment. She served first as a special education functional teacher under the Leavenworth County Special Education Cooperative, and these last 4 years employed by Lansing in the same role. Highly regarded as a hard worker and community builder among her colleagues, she leads by example, dedication, and relationship building. The students with whom she works all require individualized lesson plans each day. And this year, I'm not quite sure how she has done it, as the caseload has been very challenging. She continues on working with staff and students as she always has done. She strives on a daily basis to provide an excellent education to her students by figuring out how each one learns best. Mrs. Hannon motivates her students to learn by encouraging them to work hard and to give their all at each learning task. She recognizes them with an end-of-the-year program where families and staff members are invited and where medals are awarded. She is a strong supporter of inclusion of special education students in the general education setting, noting that the benefits are there for all students to learn from each other. She wants all students to be valued, productive members of the community. For her students, this means going just not the extra mile, but perhaps 10 extra miles so that they have varied learning opportunities. She's a productive member of the educational community by serving on several committees of the elementary as well. Mrs. Hannon demonstrates the highest level of professional commitment and competency in her work with students and colleagues. It is with great honor that I announce Mrs. Ellen Hannon as the Lansing School District Elementary Teacher of the Year.
I am honored and humbled to represent Lansing as the Elementary Teacher of the Year. When I was in first grade attending St. Monica's Catholic School, I was inspired by Sister Aquanata and Sister Peter Damien. That year, I decided I was going to be a nun and a teacher when I grew up. Years later, when I found out that nuns could not get married, the nun career was dropped, but the teacher title stuck. My teaching career began in August of 1978 in the St. Louis Special School District. When they told me that I was going to be making $9,800 a year, I was going to be the richest lady on earth. In the last 39 years, I have learned some valuable lessons that I would like to share. Number one, all students can learn given a positive and structured learning environment. Number two, parents send to school the best kids that they have. Number three, each of us is responsible for our own actions, attitudes, and words. Number four, being prepared, having a sense of humor, and building relationships with students, parents, and colleagues are essential for success. And number five, character education is as important as academic education. I would like to take this opportunity to thank my husband Rich and our adult children, Justin, Matthew, and Sarah. Our daughter Sarah has paid me the ultimate compliment by becoming a special education teacher. She is in her first year of teaching in the Blue Valley School District. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank my paraprofessionals for their dedication and professionalism. You have helped me daily to meet the unique needs of each of our students. You share this award with me. Thanks again for this honor.
Valerie Chappell, will you please come forward to the podium? Lansing is fortunate to have many dedicated teachers who are motivated to serve the youth of our community and have done so for several years. Valerie Chappell currently teaches physical science, physics, and advanced place physics at the high school. I would like for us all to pause for just a moment and think about the impact of having teachers who inspire students in our science classrooms. We need engineers, problem solvers as we move through the 21st century. One of her nominators, a student, spoke to the impact that Ms. Chappell had on her career ambition to become an engineer. Truly a compliment. To be able to make physics understandable to a group of high schoolers is certainly an achievement worthy of high praise. I understand that Ms. Chappell goes the extra mile utilizing a variety of learning methods from modeling to labs to writing reports on projects, all with a strong emphasis on visuals. While doing so, she maintains a high level of professionalism and respect, and she also has a great sense of humor. In addition to teaching physics, she is also supporting the technology infrastructure here in the high school while working on yet another degree in computer programming. Outside the classroom, she works with students on powerlifting. Her day starts early before 6:45 a.m. and often ends late around 5 p.m. She also serves on various building committees to include the building leadership team. Dedication just might be her middle name. It is with great honor that I announce Valerie Chappell as the Lansing School District Secondary Teacher of the Year.
Should have brought a step stool. Okay, I'll give you guys the abridged version. First, I'd like to thank all my physics kids that I've had over the last 8 years, including some of my student athletes. It really makes it inspiring coming to school when you get to work with some kids who really work hard. More importantly, there are many teachers I see here who are very inspiring, and every time I see them, I learn something from them. And so I'm going to name a few here who I repeatedly see doing great things in the classroom, and I don't think they get credit enough. For the passionate Melissa Legree, who my first year teaching, taking over staff meetings and making them enjoyable. For Megan Bone, who I visited her during summer, and she's like, yeah, I'm doing all this for psychology and this class here, and I'm thinking, wow, I just got up today. To Mr. Craig Worrell, who worked tirelessly. I never saw him turn a kid away, knowing that he was exhausted. He still worked with those kids on math. To Mr. Byron Mays, who I think spends 12 hours a day here at Lansing. He never goes home. I think home is in Lawrence, but I think he has a bed here too. Mr. Zach Craig, one of the most hardworking individuals I've ever seen, and a guy who can reach some of those kids who I think most teachers probably gave up on. And last but not least here, probably the most caring person I've ever met. We call her the mother of our hallway, probably at the school, Miss Rhonda Lang. Lastly, on a serious note, my mom asked for a picture, and she didn't really like the picture of the food, so I'm going to take a little, they call it a selfie. So you can smile or duck, but I'm going to take a picture from my mom. But seriously, thank you for the last 8 years. It's been great.
Mrs. Carol Page, please come forward to the podium. Sometimes in life, we happen upon an individual who has lived many decades, 7 for Mrs. Page, and who embodies the characteristics of a truly good human being, who has selflessly given of herself to the community in which she lives and works. Mrs. Page has seen the world, traveling in a military family as a young child. She has lived in the Philippines, the Caribbean, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, Jacksonville, Florida, Gardner, and Emporia, Kansas, and of course, here in Lansing. She graduated from Roosevelt Roads High School Naval Air Station in Puerto Rico a while ago. Her background is both early childhood education and working in the realty business. She has worked extensively in the community as a librarian, a teacher's aide at Lansing Elementary, as a teacher at the Jack and Jill Preschool, as a Lansing USD 469 substitute teacher. Now there's a tough job. You really have to love kids to do that one. She has also supported the community through working as a realtor for various businesses for the past 30 years or so. The community has seen her working on their behalf since 1982 as the New U Extension Homemakers Council historian, serving on the American Orientation class for the international students as a teacher, serving as an ambassador on the Leavenworth Lansing Chamber of Commerce, promoting and assisting the Lansing, Kansas Scholarship Fund, from which some students here today will benefit greatly, the Leavenworth County Artists Association, and the Lansing Education Foundation, and she's a charter member of the Feisty Friends of the Red Hat Society. Most importantly, she has supported our schools through tireless efforts since 1977. She has served as a room mother, many roles in the PTA. During those years when her children were in school, supporting numerous activities like cross-country, track, theater, forensics, Cayettes, and Lionettes. She has worked on supporting bond vote initiatives and other educational causes to support the growth of Lansing. Mrs. Carol Page serves as a role model for all of us, how to be an educational community member by being involved in the daily life of our schools, building relationships that stand the test of time. It is with great honor that I announce Mrs. Carol Page as the Lansing Education Foundation's Lifetime Achievement Awardee for the 2018-19 school year.
All so very much. Oh, I want to be able to talk. I only get one. I want to thank the Lansing Educational Foundation. The board has been absolutely a delightful group of people to work with. I'm especially grateful to Nineveh, who's followed Mary Alice's shoot so nicely. And the LEF does a really good job of supporting the classrooms and the teachers and the students. I would like to encourage all of you high school kids to apply for the scholarship for the Lansing, Kansas Scholarship Fund, which Earl Johnsmeyer and his wife Irene started giving scholarships back in the mid-'80s, and in 1987 they founded the Lansing, Kansas Scholarship Fund Incorporated. Last year was our 30th year, and to date, I'm not sure what our date is now, I should know that. But we had given last year, over those 30 years, over $500,000 to graduating Lansing students, seniors. I'm really proud of being associated with that group too. But thank you all so very much. I am so appreciative. My sister is here. My daughter Dawn is here. So if you went to school with Dawn, Carol, and and my son-in-law celebrated his birthday yesterday and spent 2 and almost 3 hours driving from Wichita to be here. What I want to say is the person on my right hand knows more than I, and I am learning. The person on my left knows less than I, and I'm teaching. And I need both my hands be held. Thank you.
Thank you for coming this morning. LES would like to thank the teachers who submitted an application for the Educate the Pride grants and building grants this year. We are so thankful to all of our donors and business sponsors for making not only the Pride grants possible, but the honors breakfast this morning possible. Foundation programs can only be successful with the help of our community. Before we end, I have one final announcement. We are selling our limited inventory Lansing Charlie Hustle shirts after the breakfast over here where the red mat is. And we are also selling concert tickets for the McKenna and Brock concert. It will be a great event, family friendly, on June 16th at the high school football stadium. At this time, we're going to draw for a teacher to receive 2 VIP tickets and a student to receive 2 student tickets. So the teacher who's going to get 2 VIP tickets is John McCall. After the breakfast this morning, you can go get your tickets right over here by the red mat. All right, do we have William Rawson? Am I saying that correctly here? All right, you'll get 2 student tickets to the concert and those will right over to the red mat after we're done this morning. So, just again, thank you all for your support of LEF, for the students and the teachers of Lansing Public Schools. We really appreciate your support. And this concludes the breakfast.